My dear friends, today I'll be discussing about the treatment or management of hypertrophic obstructive cardiomyopathy. Now, the management or treatment of hypertrophic obstructive cardiomyopathy we can divide into medical management, electrophysiological intervention, as well as surgical treatment or surgical intervention. Besides, some lifestyle modification can also be advised in some patients so as to prevent the progression of the disease. Now, when it comes to medical management, we include some medicines or drugs like beta blockers, which is the first line of drug. Then comes the diuretics. Calcium channel can be used in between. Beside, diisopyramide is another important drug which can be used for treatment of or medical management of HOCM. When it comes to electrophysiological treatment, there is implantable pacemaker so as to manage the abnormal rhythms or ectopic heart or ectopic beats. Beside, cardiac defibrillator can be used so as to prevent the arrhythmia. Cardiac defibrillator as well as implantable pacemakers can be used so as to prevent the arrhythmia, ectopic beats, abnormal heart rhythm, atrial fibrillation, and even sudden cardiac death or sudden cardiac arrest. So this fibrillator as well as pacemaker comes under electrophysiological intervention, and thus it helps in prevention of development of arrhythmia as well as abnormal heart rhythm as well as sudden cardiac death or cardiac arrest. Now comes to the surgical therapy. In surgical therapy, the most common is septal myomectomy. Here, a part of the septum or hypertrophied septum which causes the difficulty in outflow or which causes the blockage in the outflow of the left ventricle is resected or removed so as to decrease the left outflow tract obstruction, and ultimately the signs symptoms of the disease become minimum. So septal myomectomy is a invasive surgical technique which needs open heart surgery or chest opening under general anesthesia, and it includes up to 1% of the risk, but most of the success rate is also very high. It has 85% of the success rate, and this septal myomectomy can be done in various subjects who are found to be not sensitive to medical management or electrophysiological therapy. Besides, there is also alcohol ablation technique. It's a non-invasive or minimal invasive technique or catheter technique by which alcohol is injected into the left anterior descending artery which supplies the part of septum, interventricular septum, which undergoes hypertrophy in HOCM, and by doing that alcohol causes local infarction of the muscle mass which are hypertrophied, and ultimately it causes decrease in the size of the muscle and prevents the left ventricular outflow tract, and we call it alcohol ablation technique or alcohol therapy. Beside, in those patients who are not responsive to medical management or other myomectomy or surgical treatment, or who has gone into a stage of end stage heart failure, surgeons can go for cardiac transplantation so as to save the life of the patients. Before any cardiovascular complication develops, heart transplant or cardiac transplant may be indicated in those subjects who has gone into a stage of end stage heart failure. Now we'll discuss about the management in a detailed way. Now for asymptomatic patients, what is the strategy of therapy or what is the management strategy for them who are asymptomatic or for those HOCM patients who are not having any sign symptom of the disease? For them it is advised not to go for strenuous exercise or heavy exercise so as to prevent the sudden cardiac death. There are many patients who are genetically positive for genetic mutation responsible for HOCM, or echocardiography can or could have diagnosed the presence of HOCM in those patients, but still sign symptoms are not there. For them, uh, it is always advisable to avoid strenuous exercise or competitive sports so as to prevent the sudden cardiac death or acute cardiac arrest which occurs because of accelerating the heart because of strenuous exercise. Besides, for them it is always advisable to avoid dehydration, diuretics, then vasodilatory group of drugs, so as to prevent the further complication of the disease, because in such situation if they go on taking dehydration or they suffer from dehydration or diuretics, they may lose extra volume from the blood and they may develop the sign symptoms of the HOCM. Besides, for those patients who are asymptomatic but they show septal hypertrophy by echocardiography, even they are not indicated for septal ablation therapy or septal myomectomy or septal reduction therapy, because they are asymptomatic. So thus asymptomatic patients are not indicated or are not advised to go for septal reduction therapy, as the left ventricular outflow tract is not causing any sign symptom of the disease. Now we'll discuss about the medications. The first line therapy that is given in medical management of HOCM is beta blockers. Beta blockers actually a group of drugs which blocks the beta receptors. There are various type of beta receptor, beta 1 receptor, beta 2 receptor, beta 3 receptors, and beta blockers block the beta 2 receptors or beta 1 receptor present in the heart as well as blood vessels, and most commonly beta blockers used are propranolol, and this group of drug is first line of treatment in case of hypertrophic obstructive cardiomyopathy, because they prevent the development of arrhythmia. They also promotes coronary blood flow. They also helps in keeping the blood pressure normal. They also lowers the heart rate. They also prevents ectopic beat development in the heart. So beta blocker give a protection for the heart so as to prevent cardiac arrest as well as cardiac arrhythmia, which may be an important complication of hypertrophic obstructive cardiomyopathy. But in those subjects, those who are intolerant to become beta blocker, for them non-dihydropyridine group of calcium channel blocker like verapamil can be advised. But one of the problem of verapamil is that for those patients whose BP is low and they are suffering from shortness of breath, they must be used with cautious, or verapamil can be very much harmful to those patients. Besides, verapamil should be used with caution in patients who have severe left ventricular outflow tract obstruction and increased pulmonary capillary waste pressure as well as very low blood pressure. So that's why beta blockers is very much a good drug or first line drug for almost all the patients. But for beta blocker intolerance, verapamil can be used, but verapamil can be used selectively, because some patients with low BP, SOB, then severe left ventricular outflow tract obstruction, then increased pulmonary capillary blood waste pressure, for them verapamil may create various side effects, and that's why they should be used with caution, or verapamil should be used with caution in this group of serious patients. Besides, dihydropyridine calcium channel blocker can be avoided in left ventricular outflow tract obstruction when it is very severe. For those who are insensitive to above drugs, that is beta blocker, then calcium channel blockers, diisopyramide can be advised because it can help in further relief of the sign symptoms. The main target of the medical management is to relieve the patient from the sign symptoms of the disease, and so as to prevent the chest pain, shortness of breath, palpitation, and so on. Besides, in case of fluid overload, diuretics can be given because it can prevent fluid overload and removal of the extra body fluid through excretion of water through urine. Besides, in case of blood pressure is very much less or very low blood pressure, phenylephrine can be given IV so as to restore the blood pressure. So these are the medical management of hypertrophic obstructive cardiomyopathy. Now we'll move towards surgical management of HOCM. The most commonly it is used is septal reduction therapy or septal myomectomy. Now it is mostly done in those patients where the medical management cannot relieve the sign symptoms of the disease, or medical management cannot lower the sign symptom or of the disease like shortness of breath, angina, chest pain, palpitation, and so on. So such patients are advised for surgical septal myomectomy, which comes under surgical therapy. Now septal myomectomy means resection of the part of the septum which has undergone hypertrophy or thickening. So for that part, it is the chest is opened and it's an invasive procedure under general anesthesia, and chest opening is very much important, or we can call it a open heart surgery, and median sternotomy is given, and the intravenous septum which has undergone hypertrophy, that part is resected and removed, and removal of the subaortic septal part may ultimately lower the left ventricular outflow tract obstruction and ultimately relieve the patient from the sign symptoms of the disease. Now, what is the main motto of the surgical myomectomy? It helps in lowering the left ventricular outflow tract obstruction. It also improves the sign symptoms of the disease. It also decreases the mortality of the patients, but surgical mortality may be there less than 1%, but it also shows more than 85% of the success rate. So these are the various concept of surgical myomectomy or septal myomectomy. Then that is open invasive procedure. It needs opening the chest, doing median sternotomy, and under general anesthesia we have to do that. But there may be some complication like bleeding, shock, then perforation of the interventricular septum, then infection, arrhythmia, then possible death also may occur in some cases. Besides, it may lead to increased risk of stroke also. So these are the various risks or complication of septal myomectomy. But still 80 to 85% of the surgical cases, they have higher success rate, or 80 to 85% success rate is there, and that's why this surgical myomectomy is done in some patients for whom medical management cannot lower down the sign symptoms of the disease. Beside, another surgical technique is there, or minor surgical technique is there, that is alcohol ablation therapy or alcohol septal ablation. And what is that? Here alcohol is injected into the septal branch of the left anterior descending artery, and this alcohol will enter into the artery supplying the septum, and ultimately it will cause local infarction or death of the septal tissue that undergo hypertrophy, and by doing that the septum gradually decreases in size and it lowers down the sign symptoms of the left ventricular outflow tract obstruction. And thus for them invasive what I mean to say is that this is not an invasive technique, because it does not require any general anesthesia, nor it does it require any opening of the chest or sternal opening, or sternotomy is not needed in these subjects. It is a minor invasive process, or here it involves cardiac catheterization, or catheter technique is important for this alcohol septal ablation treatment. Besides, there is also other treatment like mitral clip. Now in asymmetrical septal hypertrophy or hypertrophic obstructive cardiomyopathy, the entire motion of mitral valve may be affected, and there may be increased risk of mitral valvular defects and deformity leading to mitral regurgitation. So mitral clip can be used in such patients so as to prevent the or correct the motion of the mitral valve. Now let's come to the electrophysiological treatment or intervention. Implantable pacemaker or defibrillator, cardiac defibrillator, can be used in some subjects who shows sign symptoms like palpitation, irregular heartbeat, tachycardia, then cardiac arrhythmia, and so on. This pacemaker as well as cardiac defibrillator, it prevents the arrhythmia, it prevents asynchronous contraction, it also prevents sudden cardiac death and sudden cardiac arrest. So electrophysiological intervention is for those subjects who are more prone to have sudden cardiac death or sudden cardiac arrest because of complication of hypertrophic obstructive cardiomyopathy. Electrophysiological therapy like defibrillator or cardiac defibrillator or implantable pacemaker prevents the ectopic beats. It also prevents arrhythmia. It also prevents excessive increase in heart rate, and finally it also helps in lowering the risk of sudden cardiac death in those patients who are more prone to develop sudden cardiac death or sudden cardiac arrest. So electrophysiological technique also plays an important role as they try to decrease the mortality in the patient suffering from HOCM. Now, last but not the least, there is another important surgical methodology that is always resorted when the person goes into a stage of heart failure or end stage heart failure. Now, various medical managements are there like beta blocker, diuretics, and calcium channel blockers so as to prevent the progression to or complication of HOCM to heart failure development. But in those subjects, medical management cannot stop the progression of the disease and may finally lead to end stage heart failure. For them, it is advisable to go for cardiac transplantation so as to decrease the mortality of the patients or to increase the survivability of the patients. So for them, cardiac transplantation or heart transplantation can be advised. Is a very invasive mechanism which needs a skilled CT-based surgeon, and this transplantation must be done before any cardiovascular complication develop. Means before pulmonary vessel hypertension develop, or before any kidney problem develop, or before any thromboembolic phenomena develops. So before any thromboembolic complication or cardiac malformations or kidney malformations or pulmonary hypertension, we have to go for cardiac transplantation so as to maximize the survival rate in those patients suffering from hypertrophic cardiac myopathy. So cardiac transplantation is mostly done in those patients for whom the sign symptoms of heart failure cannot be controlled by taking medical management or by other methods or other surgical method. For them, it is always advisable to do cardiac transplantation so as to avoid or to treat the end stage heart failure situations, because one of the important complication or of HOCM is heart failure, which may leads to end stage heart disease, which may require heart transplantation so as to increase the survivability of the patient. Now, before ending, I want to say there are some lifestyle modification that must be included so as to prevent the progression of the disease. What are those? Those patients who are suffering from HOCM, maybe symptomatic or asymptomatic, they are always advised to avoid competitive sports or strenuous exercise or severe heavy exercise so as to prevent the risk of development of sudden cardiac death or sudden cardiac arrest. Besides, they are always advised to take or eat heart healthy diets or heart healthy diets are very much important so as to prevent the further heart problems or superimposed heart problems like coronary artery disease or ischemic heart disease or myocardial infarction. Besides, they are always advised to avoid excessive weight or to prevent obesity. They are advised to maintain their normal weight, because if the patient is suffering from HOCM, then the heart is facing lots of stress or stressful situation in supplying the blood towards whole body. But in case of overweight or obesity or excessive weight, the hypertrophic obstructive cardiomyopathy patients cannot maintain their circulation because the heart is gradually becoming weak over time due to left ventricular outflow tract obstruction and may complicate into heart failure. That's why it is advisable to lower the excessive body fat, control the obesity, and keep the weight in normal range so as to prevent the development of heart failure or so as to decrease the workload on the heart, which is already involved with hypertrophic obstructive cardiomyopathy. Besides, patients can also be advised to avoid smoking and alcohol intake, because these are the most important toxin or create cardiovascular changes and may lead to various cardiovascular complications. So these are the various lifestyle changes that can be advised by doctors for all the patients who are suffering from hypertrophic obstructive cardiomyopathy. Thank you very much.